to Amnesty International Canada from South Azerbaijani Human Rights Center, August 11, 2013. South Azerbaijan is bleeding. South Azerbaijan is drying up. South Azerbaijan is dying from thirst, from hunger. South Azerbaijan is crying for help. Yet, who can stop the bleeding? Who can put stop to the intentional and deliberate ecological and social disaster caused by a terrorist Iranian regime upon Lake Urmu? Who will put an end to Persian Iranian terrorist mullahs' systematic annihilation of South Azerbaijani Turks' livelihood in every aspect? South Azerbaijan is an occupied land for over 80 years now and on the way of complete assimilation to Persian Iranian system, either by mass media, forced and mandatory Persian education, or by forced exiles, by millions, arrests, tortures, and murders. Terrorist mullah's regime is destroying South Azerbaijan at the land as over 30 million Turks as the inhabitants. In the chain of random and illegal arrests of thousands of Azerbaijani Turks, they are members of Yeni GAMOH organization's leadership who are in Iranian prison to protest the dire situation of prisoners and illegality of the arrests. Dr. Latif Hassani, Mr. Behbud Qolizadeh, Mr. Mahmoud Fazli, Mr. Shahram Radmeh, Mr. Yurush Mehralibayli, senior members of Yeni GAMOH, and many others in prison, started hunger strike. For almost a month now that they are continuing with their protest. They were beaten, tortured, with no visit from lawyers and medical personnel. Their physical situation is getting worse day by day and hour by hour. They risk their lives to voice the grievances of South Azerbaijani Turks under the hands of butchers of Persian Iranian terrorist regime. Who will voice their pain and suffering? Who will let the world know that a complete civil and peaceful protest and demand of basic human rights, such as education in mother tongue, would end up in losing freedom, social status, family, and ultimately life? Who will draw the attention of human rights NGOs and world governments to the destruction of a nation and their land by the most oppressive and repressive occupying force in the world? The world should know that Persian Iran occupation is destroying South Azerbaijani Turks. Who will help us? Who will hear us? Who? CBC? CNN? BBC? Which news agency? Who will risk an animosity with Iranian mullahs? Who will go to the war with the evil? From here, and by this note, we are crying out to the free world's human rights organizations, news agencies, and media. Here you are, the news. Isn't that what you're looking for? Isn't that news? And especially dramatic news of death and destruction you are looking for and paying for? Aren't you looking for the pain and suffering of human to talk about? Aren't human tragedy your bread and butter? Here you are. We are paying by our lives. Do we qualify less than a Palestinian or an Israeli? Are we less newsworthy than protesters who were roughed up in Gezi Park of Istanbul? Aren't we suffering enough? Aren't we human too? We are human too. We are under unimaginable and inhuman treatment of archaic and apocalyptic terrorist regime of Persian Iran. With the mixture of extreme Shia doctrine of Islam and extreme Aryan nationalism of Persian Iran, Iranian terrorists have nothing to lose. If they die in the process of plundering of South Azerbaijan and murdering of its Turkish population, they will go to heaven to spend time with 72 virgins infinitely. But we want to live. We want to live peacefully in our own motherland, Azerbaijan. We want to run our own affairs. We want our own government. We want independence. We want freedom. We want democracy. We deserve to live like our sisters and brothers in Republic of Azerbaijan and Turkey. We want to be considered a human, a free human in his and her own land. Yet and again, as we just want to live in peace, we are dying in Iranian tortured dungeons. Members of Yeni GAMOH leadership, our brothers and sisters, in war on Persian Iran evil, which is fallen upon South Azerbaijan, are dying in their almost a month of hunger strike. They and hundreds of thousands like them are dying under Persian, Iranian, international, and human rights organizations in the world to be true to their responsibilities and their conscience, to be conscious of brutal inhumanity imposed upon a peaceful nation who is in front line of fighting a war with the most horrible and deadliest of axis of evil, Iran. We ask Amnesty International to protest with us the barbarism of Persian Iran regime and to protest the deliberate human rights violations of Iranian terrorist regime in occupied South Azerbaijani lands. South Azerbaijani Human Rights Center, Toronto, Canada, August 11, 2013. Thank you.
Long live South Azerbaijan!
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 Down with Iranian regime!
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 Free political prisoners!
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 Free political prisoners! Free human rights activists!
Free human rights activists!
Free human rights activists!
Free human rights activists!
Down with Iranian terrorists!
Down with Iranian terrorists!